Nobody is coming to save your career. Not your manager, not your skip level, not the company you've given the last 5 years of your life to. The truth is, in 2026, waiting to be noticed isn't just slow. It's dangerous to your career. AI is compressing the value of the comfortable work that you're doing right now. The stuff that you're great at, the stuff that makes you reliable, that's exactly the stuff that's getting automated first. Being a passenger in your career used to just mean slow growth. Today, it means getting left behind. In this video, I'm going to break down the 3 truths that you need to accept to take back control so that by the end, you'll know exactly where you've been handing over your career growth and what to do about it this week. The fastest way to endanger your career is to become reliable at low impact work. You'll be rewarded with more of it until you're replaced by the AI that was trained on your priors. Now, I know some of you are watching this thinking, I don't care about climbing the ladder. I like my job and where I'm at. I'm not trying to be a VP. And that's fair. Wanting more scope is a choice and not an obligation. And if you've built a life that you genuinely like, I respect that. But staying where you are is not the same thing as being safe. The work that you're doing today is the work that the models are getting good at tomorrow. You don't have to want a promotion to care about this. You just have to want to still have a job in 5 years. So whether you're trying to grow or trying to hold your ground, the rest of this video still applies. Because the person who owns your career isn't your manager and it isn't your company. It's you. Here's what I want you to understand about where you work. The company is a simple machine. It's just trying to maximize profit. It doesn't love you. It doesn't hate you. It doesn't care about your family. It's running this naive algorithm. And the algorithm looks like this. Add work to your plate until you push back. If you don't push back, add some more work. My friend Ethan Evans, a former Amazon VP, says, it isn't evil. It's just business. And he's right. The company isn't trying to hurt you. It just doesn't care if it does. So the job of managing your career falls squarely on you. Nobody else is sitting there thinking about whether you're growing. Your manager has their own problems. The company has its roadmap. The algorithm just wants more output. None of those things care about your trajectory. You're the only one that can. Suppose you've done the work of figuring out the next step of your career, and you've decided that what you need is bigger scope, like a project that stretches you. Something that would actually move you forward instead of producing more of what you already have proven that you can do. That work is not coming to you by default. The algorithm is never going to hand it to you. Your manager is not going to walk over to you and offer it unprompted. The company has no incentive to disrupt the situation that's already working for them. You're already being stretched doing a high volume of reliable work, and from their perspective, that's ideal. Why would they change that? They're not going to. You have to be the one that changes it. You have to be the one who starts the conversation and says, I need work that would actually grow me. Because if you don't, nothing will happen. You stay where you are, getting more of the same work until enough years pass that you stop believing that anything different is possible. I fell into this trap as a senior engineer at Amazon. I was doing well and getting strong reviews, but I wasn't growing. I was buried in project work that I already knew how to do. And when I finally went to my manager and asked for bigger scope, his first reaction wasn't excitement. It was, Steve, but you're doing so well where you are. That's the voice of the trap. That's what your company sounds like when it's benefiting from your stagnation. And this is why it matters more in 2026 than it ever has. The work that you're reliable at is the work that you're going to get replaced at. The work that you've mastered, the stuff that makes you reliable, that's exactly the work that AI is eating first. 5 years ago, being stuck at your level meant that you still had slow growth. Now it means that you're accelerating getting laid off. If your whole value is built on doing what you already know how to do, that value is going down every quarter. The only work that still compounds is the work that scares you a little, because that's the work that builds the taste, judgment, and experience the models don't have yet. So if you want to grow, you have to be the one that makes things uncomfortable. Nobody at your company is going to do it for you. That's not a flaw in the system. That's the system working as intended. At this point, I've published nearly 500 videos and newsletters. That's a huge library of thinking on careers, promotions, leadership, and interviews. But I can't hold all of it in my head, and I definitely can't track every news cycle and figure out in real time how my thinking connects to what's happening today. So I built a custom agent in Notion that does it for me. Every morning, it scans the latest tech news, then goes through my entire content library, like my video transcripts, my newsletters, basically all of my context, and finds all of the connections. But it doesn't just tell me what I've already said. It gives me a brief for something new to create, a timely hook connecting to my thinking that I've already done. This is what was waiting for me this morning. There was a major AI service outage yesterday, and the agent picked up on it. It connected the story to 3 things that I've already published: my newsletter about moving fast and breaking things, my video about normalizing engineering mistakes, and my piece on rubbernecking software accidents. Then it gave me a fresh angle. Reliability is now a career skill, not just an SRE thing. It even told me to publish today because the window's short. I went from creating content once a week on a schedule to being able to jump on the right moment whenever it happens, because the agent is always watching for those moments, even when I'm not. Try custom agents in Notion. The link is in the description. I built one more agent that's even more powerful. I'll show you that next time. The second thing that you need to accept is that your manager is not your career coach. They're not thinking about your growth right now. They're probably not going to be thinking about it tomorrow either. And this isn't because they're a bad manager. It's because their incentives don't align there. Think about what your manager is actually measured on. They have a roadmap to deliver. They have their own boss asking why things are behind schedule. In a lot of companies, they're being stack ranked against other managers, which means that they spend more time thinking about how they don't come off as an underperformer. On top of all of that, team sizes are getting bigger. A lot of companies are using AI efficiency gains as a reason to reorg and flatten the org chart, which means that your manager now has more direct reports than they did a year ago, with the same amount of time in a week. By default, your manager is more focused on managing people out than they are on growing anyone's career. And again, it's not evil, it's just the reality of being a software manager today. That's the situation they find themselves in. So if your manager is the kind of person who initiates the career growth conversation on their own without you bringing it up, consider yourself lucky. Genuinely very lucky. Most people don't have that manager. Most people have a manager who's busy, who's stressed, and who's running a quiet calculation in their head about who on the team is a problem. If you aren't that problem, you fall into the background of their attention. I had Gergely Arosh on my podcast last year. A lot of you know him from the Pragmatic Engineer newsletter. He was a principal engineer, became a manager, and then went back to becoming a principal engineer. When he first became a manager, he came in wanting to do this the right way. He built a personal growth plan for every single person on his team. These were real career plans tailored to each person, and they took a lot of time and effort. And then he actually talked to his reports. What he found was that about 25% of them actively wanted to grow their careers. The other 75% were happy where they were. They liked their level, they liked their work, and they weren't looking for more scope. So Gergely made a rule for himself. If someone didn't come to him with career growth as a goal, he wasn't going to build a plan for them. He still cared, he just had a limited amount of manager time, and spending it on career plans for people who didn't want one was wasting his energy and wasting theirs. I think about this story a lot because Gergely was an unusually thoughtful manager. He came in wanting to do more for his people, not less. And even he landed on, I'm only going to coach the people who ask for it. If that's where Gergely ends up, imagine where the average manager ends up. If you've never told your manager you want to grow, their default assumption is that you don't. They can't read your mind. They don't know if you're gunning for the next level or perfectly content where you are. And from what Gergely saw, 3 out of 4 people on their team really are content. So unless you tell them otherwise, that's the bucket they put you in. And once they think that you're in that bucket, why would they hand you that uncomfortable stretch project? Why would they go to bat for you with their own boss for a promotion that you never asked for? Your manager is not your career coach, but they are the single most powerful resource that you have for growing your career. They know what the next level looks like at the company. They know what projects are coming. They can advocate for you in rooms that you'll never be in. All of that is available to you, but none of it activates until you tell them what you want. An unactivated manager is just your boss. An activated manager is the person who opens doors you didn't know existed. Here's how to do it. In your next one-on-one, tell them what you actually want. And what you want might not be a promotion. Maybe you want an exceeds expectation on your next review. Maybe you want to meet expectations when you've been struggling to. Maybe you want a promotion, but not this cycle, the one after. Maybe you just want harder work. Whatever it is, say it out loud. It can be as simple as, I just wanted to let you know that I'm trying to grow in my career. And here's specifically what I think that looks like for me this year. And then fill in the blank. I want to be rated exceeds this cycle. I want to be on track for the next level in 18 months. I want to take on a project that's above my current scope. One sentence that tells your manager where you're trying to go. You shouldn't go in demanding anything. You're giving them the information they need to help you, which they couldn't do before because they didn't know. Quick aside, if this kind of script is useful to you, I've got a lot more of them. I run a coaching program called Top Tier, where me and my team work with ambitious tech professionals on exactly this. How to have the tough conversations, how to find scope, and how to package your work so it actually gets seen. If speaking to a principal engineer regularly sounds like something that would help grow your career, the link is in the description. The conversation itself will feel less awkward than you think. The hard part is sitting down to have it. Once you've had it, it stops being a conversation and starts being the new baseline. Your manager now knows what you want. That has to be step one. The third thing that you need to accept is that if the things that you want aren't happening, you are still not a victim. I'm going to be a little blunt here because this is the part that honestly bothers me. A lot of people in tech are walking around right now angry that their careers aren't moving. Their manager didn't advocate for them. The good projects go to people that play politics. Their company passed them over. The reorg killed their project. The economy is bad. AI is taking their scope. And all of these things are true, but they're also completely besides the point. Because here's what's also true. You can change teams. You can change managers. You can change companies. You can change industries. You can move to a different city. You can start your own startup. At any point in your career, you have more options than you're currently using. And if you're sitting in a spot where things aren't moving and you haven't exercised any of these options, then the person responsible for that stall is you. Nobody else cares about your career growth. You are the project manager of your career. That means you set the goal, you track the progress, you identify the blockers. You escalate when something is stuck. And when a blocker isn't going to move, you route around it. Suppose you try to activate your manager. You ask for the work that would grow you. You do a great job on the work that you already have. And after all that, your manager says, let's wait another 6 months. Something might pop up. But you've been waiting for 2 years and heard the same line. If, after all of that, the opportunities aren't coming to you, your job is to go make them happen somewhere else. People want the growth, but they don't want to do any of the uncomfortable things that it requires. They want the new scope, but not the awkward conversation with their manager. They want the promotion, but not the risk of switching teams. They want the big career, but not the discomfort of leaving a team they like or moving to a new city. What you're doing when you do that is bargaining with the universe on price. You want the thing, but you want it on your terms. But the universe doesn't haggle or negotiate. The price of career growth is action. If it's not happening on its own, that's uncomfortable action. That's it. That's the price. And if you're not willing to pay it, then the honest answer is you didn't really want the thing. Anybody can have career growth. It's just a question of whether you're willing to do the uncomfortable things to get there. A few years before I made principal at Amazon, I had the worst manager I've ever had. He wasn't a nice guy who was busy. He wasn't a decent manager who missed things. He was the actual worst. I was up for promotion and I reminded him about the submission deadlines over and over, every week. He let them pass anyways. When the cycle closed, he just didn't submit the packet. That was it. No promotion that year. I had to wait another 6 months and I should have left the team. I should have moved immediately, because if your manager won't even submit the paperwork for your promotion after you've reminded him 15 times, that's not a solvable problem. That's a signal from the universe that you are in the wrong place. But I didn't leave. I liked the rest of the team. I liked the product. The pay was fine. So I stayed, and I told myself I'd just try to remind him harder the next time. What actually saved me was a reorg nearly 2 years later. Someone else moved me to another manager that got me back on track. It worked out, but it shouldn't have worked out because of luck. It should have worked out because I moved. Those were years of my career I'll never get back. If I could go back to 2015 and grab my own shoulders and shake them, this is what I'd say to myself. Steve, you have control over your career. Stop waiting for something to happen. Make it happen. Here's a small exercise to see where you are. Finish these 2 sentences in your head right now. Sentence 1. My career goal is blank. It has to be a specific thing. I want to be a senior engineer. I want to be a staff engineer. I want to be making double my salary at a big tech company. Something concrete enough that you'd know whether you got there or not. Sentence 2. In the next 12 months, I'm going to make progress toward this by blank. This should, again, be something specific. By leading the migration project, by up-leveling myself for an in-demand skill that people are hiring for, by moving to a team where the work actually matches where I'm trying to go. If you can fill in both blanks with something real, then you're running your career. If the second sentence honestly sounds more like, by keeping my head down and hoping someone notices, you're not. That's okay, most people aren't, but now you know, and you can think about what to do next and then make it happen. Nobody is coming to save your career. That's the bad news. The good news is that nobody needs to, because you are fully capable of saving it yourself. Today is a good day to start. A lot of this video assumes that you're seen as a high performer. If you aren't quite there yet, take a look at this video on how to be seen as one without burning the candle on both ends. Turns out that perception is much more important than the raw effort that you put in.